Uplift the lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio.
And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Divine greetings. We thank God for Elation Magazine and the opportunity to podcast every Thursday, 5 o'clock Central, the Loretta Petit Show, Women Winning at Life from Ministry to Marketplace. Look for Loretta Petit on Facebook so you can get information about our official prayer line. We'd like you to join us. Thanks again, Elation Magazine.
Feel defeated and you're down for the count. You feel like life has thrown you blows and God ain't been around. But I've come to encourage you to hold your head high. Know that God is in your corner now. Inner life, you are a winner. You just can't lose. Who burn a cave more than a conqueror? Jesus in you. You are a winner. You are born to win. Burn a cave, more than a conqueror, power within. You are a winner.
Great evening, everybody. Great evening to you, and to you. Just know for sure that you are a winner. Why? Because as believers, we are wired to win. The Lord created us as winners. It's up to us if we will accept that creative design, if we will step up to the plate. It is up to us to claim our place where God has designed for us to be, living our best life in pursuit of the things that God has designed. Good evening, one, and good evening, all. Pleasant good evening to all of you that's tuned in. I love you guys with the love of the Lord. You are in tune to the Loretta Petit Show, Women Winning at Life, from ministry to marketplace. Women winning at life, from ministry to marketplace. And, of course, I thank God for my awesome producer today, none other than Miss Kimmy Kim. Thank you, woman of God. And our prayers are always with you and yours in your ever endeavor. She is the founder of Elation Magazine, so be sure to check it out when you get a moment. Also, thanks to you, Mr. Jerry Royce. Again, you're in tune to the Loretta Petit Show, Women Winning at Life, from ministry to marketplace. And I'm Loretta Petit. I had my voice a moment ago. It's trying to leave me, it looks like. So today we want to focus on leadership. Everyone that inside of an organization that may have the title may not be functioning as a supportive, positive, forward-thinking, powerful leader. They get the respect because they wear the title. But many times they fall short because, like with anything, even in being the founder of a magazine, you still find yourself researching and learning and sharpening your iron. Leaders, wherever you are, you should be still connecting with the trend of what's happening now and sharpening your iron and researching. Like me, as a leader and as a marketer, as a media professional, I've got to continue learning and researching, watching and listening, and sharpening my iron. So I want to give you today some major causes of failure in leadership. But just before that, we give God all the praise and glory and honor, due His holy and righteous and powerful name. Our scripture today I'd like to share with you is going to be a scripture I believe will bless you. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9 tells us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up." I also like Hebrews 13 and 7, which says, "Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith." So we want to be leaders where people can imitate our faith, our walk, our actions. We certainly want that to be so. So having said that, I do want to also note that leaders, they go through it as well, but it's going to take courage for you to be a positive and influential part of someone's life, and discipline and determination. Great leaders can bring about great success. Do keep that in mind. Great leaders can bring about great success. All leaders that God calls are not ready necessarily at that time. The Bible talks about even being called to ministry. You must wait on your ministry. While you're waiting, you're working, you're learning, you're being taught, you're growing, you're making your mistakes, you're sharpening your iron. So I want to help my sister leaders and any brothers that may be tuned in as well. But in the meantime, in between time, always feel free to reach out to me You can send your thoughts, your questions, your comments to LorettaReviews@gmail.com. Also, your birthday, if you like shout-outs for that, anniversaries, LorettaReviews@gmail.com. By the inspiration of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, he shares some great pointers that I'd like to expound on a few for you in our short time remaining. He says, to your big opportunity may be right where you are now. We're always trying to jump out. Sometimes we're jumping out, as they say, out of the frying pan into the skillet. We're jumping out. But sometimes there is a time. There is a beating. There is a shaking. Sometimes you do need to jump out. And so that's why we've got to seek our Maker. For God said in his word to acknowledge him in all of our ways, and he will direct our path. So there's some major causes for failure in leadership. We can understand that, of course, where there's good, there's always bad. Where there's up, there's down. Where there's right, there's wrong, right? So none of us want to say your leadership is wrong. It just may be a little bit off, and it can be brushed up a bit. You know, you can do better. Certain things leaders say that really irk me. I have my pet peeves. I always talk about that because I do, and I know everyone does. At this point in my life, I've learned to be more courageous now, and I believe I have a voice, I have a place, and my opinion does matter. Now, it may not change the way a person leads, or it may not change the way they may do a certain thing, but I certainly feel that my voice needs to be heard, just as I take time to listen to your voice because I'm giving you that ability to be heard as well. So certain things leaders say that I know there's a better way to say it. I personally don't like leaders who lead by threatening. I'm just so ready to walk away from that, and I have got to, of course, acknowledge God in all my ways. I don't like leaders to lead by threatening. You know, if you constantly hold it over my head, what you're going to do if I don't do A, B, or C, then I really rather not be there because you're leading by threatening. Another thing I think leaders can brush up on, if you can stop telling people what you pay them for. I pay you to do this, and I pay you to. That's not effective leadership. All you're doing is provoking people to anger. All you're doing is causing people to back down rather than go over and above to give you their best service. So there's another way to say these things. We can say to those who follow us, what did you sign up for? What was your understanding of this position? What did you think would be your responsibilities? That's a better way than saying, I pay you to do this, or that's what you get paid for. It hits the ears and the soul in a different kind of way. So if you aspire to be a positive and effective leader, certain things you may want to change if you are guilty of saying those kinds of things. And I use those because those are things that are irking to me or pet peeves to me. But here's one of the things I want to share with you as a leader. You are failing at leadership perhaps because of your inability to organize details. Efficient leadership calls for the ability to organize and to master the details. Leaders need to know how to deal with the details. Don't always leave that to the manager. Don't always leave that to other people. Be an effective leader. And right here I want to use case in point. I was reviewing an old video with Toni Braxton and Oprah Winfrey. And Toni was saying that she was broken, that she was filing for bankruptcy. My daughter said the first or the second time. I said, I don't know, but I think it was the first. She was filing for bankruptcy because she was making the money, but she was leaving it up to other people to lead in that area. She was leaving it up to the managers, and she was leaving it up to people that she thought she could trust. Well, Oprah was showing her in so many ways, you're not being an effective leader
and managing your own affairs. You've got to know how to guide. You've got to know how to show, and you've got to be able to go back and manage what you've shown. So she was saying that, well, you can't really be on stage and manage your money, or you can't be on stage and lead your people. Oprah said, oh, yes, you can. So you have to know how to not just be a manager of what you have, but also how to lead people and how to give you reports, lead them on how to meet certain benchmarks, lead them on how to be present with the material that you need them present with. You have to be able to be a good leader. Don't ever get too busy to do what needs to be done. And the other thing that caused one to fail at their leadership is unwillingness to render humble service. Sometimes leaders become too great in their own eyes. You know, they become too big. It's the big eyes and the little U's. Their mouths say one thing, oh, there's no big eyes and little U's here, but their actions and their attitudes say something else. So it's not enough to tell me that you're not a big eye and I'm a little U. It's not enough to tell me, but you really need to show me, right? Truly great leaders are willing, when occasion demands, to perform any sort of labor which they would ask another to perform. And that's my train of thought. That's my philosophy. As a great leader, you're going to show, you're going to teach, you're going to guide people into every aspect of what you expect for them. It amazes me. It amazes me every time I hear someone say, I'm not going to teach you what you need to do. You just need to know how to do it. And I call that crystal ball leadership. You're expecting me to know something you have not taught me. You're expecting me to know things that I couldn't know by osmosis. Yes, I can learn by observing. I can learn to follow certain things, but there are intricacies I cannot know unless I'm taught. Again, I call that crystal ball leadership. You will find that you are laboring over and over and over and over and over again because you are not training and teaching and showing your people, but you're expecting them to catch it by osmosis. And that's wearing you out. So at what point are you going to say, this way is not working? Maybe I need to learn how to get down in the trenches with my people and show them the ropes. Another cause for failure in leadership is the fear of competition of your followers. The fear of competition from your followers. The leader who fears that one of his or her followers may take his or her position is practically sure to realize that fear sooner or later. The able leader trains understudies to whom he or she may delegate at will any of the details of the position. Only in this way may a leader multiply himself or herself to prepare to be at many places and to give attention to many things at one time. The next thing is, I'm going to give you this and then take a quick little break, is a lack of imagination. That can cause failure in your leadership. Without imagination, the leader is incapable of meeting emergencies and of creating plans by which to guide the followers efficiently. You must have some imagination. You cannot go strictly by the book for every little bitty thing because life is full of surprises. It'll show you things that's not in the book. It'll show you things that's not in your procedure manual. So you have to have some imagination. To lead with imagination also means to be able to know when you've got to infuse some hope in your people, when to reignite a fire, when to tap into their passions. Leading with imagination is key. So we're taking a quick little break right here to give you my news minute. It is National Day of Prayer, and I pray that you're taking extra moment or two to talk to Father God, to lift someone in prayer, intercede. It is the National Day of Prayer, and people are doing things around the nation in observance of National Day of Prayer. Many times we don't do anything because it sneaks up on us because it's not on our major calendar. But this is the National Day of Prayer. And also, on a sad note, in the news, writer-director John Singleton passed away this week. He was on life support after a major stroke. He had a major stroke, and so he was put on life support. And after consultation with the doctors, the family decided to discontinue life support. He passed away 51 years young. You might remember him. You might not know him personally. I don't want to say personally. You might not know his face. May not know his face, but you may remember the film that he wrote and directed, the American teenhood drama film, the 1991 Boys in the Hood. I remember going to watch that movie. It was hard for me because certain kinds of movies I don't watch. But I went to see that, and it was in that movie that I finally found out, I think, who Ice Cube was. Was it Ice? Yeah, Ice Cube. And I found out who Lawrence Fishburne was. That was the movie that I got to know the two of them by their works. And then we also look at that movie as one that dealt with race relations and violence and future prospecting. So sad how the young man who had promise was cut down in life. Almost kind of like his own story, except John didn't get, killed from externals. His came from internal. He also went on to get 8 films under his belt to include Poetic Justice and Higher Learning, as well as Too Fast, Too Furious, and he got 2 Oscar nominations for his works. So, our condolences are going out to the Singleton family. He was once married to the beautiful Dr. Hugh's sister. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Got an opportunity to meet her, Akusawa Busia. She is the one, if you remember The Color Purple, let me take you back for a moment. Think about The Color Purple. She was the one who was in the tall grass with the young Seeley. They were playing the patty cake game. The patty cake game. They played it until they separated. And then she went on to the motherland or wherever she had gone, and she came back with the older Seeley, who was played by Whoopi Goldberg, came back with her grown children. That was Akusawa Busia. She's actually African, and she married John Singleton, and they do have a daughter together. But he's got 5 kids. I believe it's 5, maybe 4 or 5. And, of course, again, our condolences go to the family, and our prayers are going up on their behalf. And that's your National News Minute. Now, getting back to what we were talking about, some of the major causes of failure in leadership, I want to say selfishness. Selfishness can cause your leadership to become weak. Mm-hmm. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. I also invite my Facebook family as well as my evangelism team. We're trying to grow our audience, so please, by all means, don't just listen for yourself, but tell somebody about us. Tell somebody to listen, because we're always talking about something positive that could really help you to be better at what you do. It is the Loretta Petit Show, Women Winning at Life, from ministry to marketplace. So can the brothers glean from it? Absolutely. You can also glean from it as well. So selfishness, the leader who claims all the honor for the work of the followers is sure to be met by resentment. There's some resentment in your leadership circle when you take another person's thunder as your own. You feel like everything has got to be because you founded it or because it was your great idea. The Lord just told that to you, and you woke up because you heard that last week at a meeting, but you said the Lord just gave that to you. Wow, that's interesting. Be careful, people. Be careful. Everyone deserves to be acknowledged for their own work, right? The really great leader claims none of the honors. He or she is content to see the honors, when there are any, go to the followers because he or she knows that most men or women will work harder for their commendation and their recognition than they will for money alone. And that is so real. So I want to share maybe a couple more with you. Disloyalty will kill your leadership. People, I don't want to badmouth any particular organization or kind of organization or business, but disloyalty will kill your leadership. Perhaps this should have come, of course, at the beginning of the list. But the leader who is not loyal to his or her trust and to his or her followers, that can be a big problem. Disloyalty marks one as being less than the dust of the earth and brings you down. So let's not be disloyal to those who are loyal to us. Let's understand that they need support too, and they need to know that we've got their backs as leaders. And the final one, this is another pet peeve of mine. Even though every now and then it may need to be shared because of the kind of followers you have, but when you've got to emphasize your title over and over again, I think there's a little situation. But every now and then, you may have some new people on board. They may not know that you're the director, or they may not know that you're the coordinator of this project. They may not know, so you may need to share it. The competent leader requires no title to give him or her the respect of the followers. The person who makes too much over the title generally has little else to emphasize. Ooh, and that's how people think about you. Think about that. If you got to constantly say, I'm the leader. No, I'm in charge. No, I'm the one. Hello, it goes by what I say because I'm such and such. The doors to the office of the real leader are open to all who wish to enter. And the working quarters are free from formality or ostentation. So we want to be careful. Be careful. Certain things you just want to be careful with. And as I recap, the inability to organize details, unwillingness to render humble service, fear of competition, lack of imagination, selfishness, disloyalty, and the emphasis of your title. These are things that will sink your leadership ship. It will sink your leadership ship. So be careful. Be the winner that God designed you to be. We are wired to win. Don't ever forget it. Thanks to Miss Kimmy Kim, my awesome producer on today. And I want to thank Mr. Jerry Royce. I want to thank each and every sister who takes time to tune in, and especially you who tag someone else and ask them to come aboard as well. And on that note, I want you to know that winning is fun. Winning is sure. Winning is not giving up, not letting up, never being satisfied with what you've done. But the question is, what are you doing? I hope your answer is, I'm winning. A genuine leader, Dr. King said, is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. I hope you join me right here again next week. I will surely be here for you. I'm Loretta Petit, and this has been the Loretta Petit Show, Women Winning at Life from Ministry to Marketplace. Happy National Day of Prayer. Till next time, bye-bye.
Nothing can stop me. Nothing can block me. I am a winner. Look at your neighbor and say, I seek the victory. Nothing can stop me. Nothing
got victory. You gotta speak victory over your life. Nothing can stop me. Yeah, nothing can block me.